The loudest man in the room is often the most disconnected from himself. True strength doesn't need to shout, it doesn't need to prove anything. It simply is. See, we live in a world that worships reaction, but the true masters of life, they don't just react, they observe. Because here's the truth. You are not your anger. You are not your sadness. You are not your anxiety. You are the awareness behind it all. In Eastern wisdom, that awareness is called pure awareness, your pure inner consciousness. Your emotions, they're just clouds passing through. You are the sky. And when people insult you, provoke you, challenge you, they're not looking for truth. They're looking for your reaction. They want to pull you into their storm. But you don't have to go, because real power is the ability to remain still, to stay clear while the world spins. Stillness isn't emptiness, it's mastery. You are not the storm, you are the sky. Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is often the one who feels the weakest inside? It's like this. The more someone needs to prove their confidence, power, or authority, the less of it they truly hold. True power is silent. It's grounded. It doesn't shout. It doesn't chase attention. And in today's chaotic world, that kind of still, quiet strength, it might be the rarest and most valuable thing you can cultivate. Now, don't misunderstand. Silence doesn't mean inaction. Stillness doesn't mean apathy. It means moving through life with presence measured in tension, calm clarity. While others are reacting impulsively, you observe. And that is a skill, one that starts deep inside. You see, from a young age, many of us are taught to become our emotions. We say, I'm angry, I'm scared, I'm frustrated. But that's not true. These are not your identity. They're emotional weather patterns. They come and they go. But you are not the storm. You are the sky. In Vietnamese inner philosophy, there's a powerful framework that explains this clearly. It's called the structure of human consciousness. And at the heart of this structure are three layers: pure awareness, your inner observer; mental filters and thought patterns; emotions and reactive impulses. When life hits you with an unexpected moment, a rude comment, a setback, a challenge, most people skip straight to mental filters and thought patterns, and emotions and reactive impulses. They think, then feel, then react. But if you train yourself to rest in pure awareness, your inner awareness, you create space, and in that space lies your power. This space is called the gap of inner stillness, the gap between stimulus and reaction. It's where true freedom lives. It's what monks spend decades mastering, not to control the world, but to master themselves. Because that's where peace begins. Inside. Imagine this. Someone insults you. Your old self would have reacted instantly, anger rising, chest tightening, words flying. But now, you pause, you breathe, you observe, you realize, this is not about me. This is just vibration energy trying to pull me into chaos. And you let it pass, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough not to be moved. This is the beginning of emotional discipline. This is the foundation of mastery. And before you react, pause for a second. Not for them, for you. Because every time you let anger explode, it doesn't just hurt your relationships, it hurts you. In ancient healing philosophy, they say, rage damages your liver. Resentment weakens your lungs. Bitterness eats at your heart. Sound funny? Maybe, but your body remembers every emotion you swallow or explode. And if you keep burning inside just to prove a point, you're not defending yourself. You're destroying yourself. So the next time something provokes you, don't react because you're angry. Respond because you love yourself enough not to bleed for what doesn't deserve your energy. The illusion of control. Let's talk about something we all crave: control. We try to control situations, outcomes, people, reactions. If they just respected me, I'd feel okay. If things went the way I planned, I'd be happy. But that mindset, it places your peace in the hands of others. And that's fragile. That's not power, that's dependency. The truth, you cannot control the outer world, but you can master your inner world, and that's the only control that truly matters. Here's where ancient Eastern wisdom meets modern science. Everything you think and feel carries an energy vibration called energy vibration frequency. Anger, fear, jealousy, low frequency. Gratitude, calm. Clarity, high frequency. Deep compassion, presence, truth, super high frequency. Your experiences mirror your frequency. If your frequency is low, you attract noise. If your frequency is high, you magnetize peace. So how do you raise it? By reclaiming your attention, by protecting your energy. Every time you react to something that doesn't deserve your focus, you leak energy. And that's why so many people feel exhausted even when they haven't done much physically. It's not the doing that drains you, it's the reacting. Let's go deeper. In Eastern practice, when you consistently respond from awareness, you accumulate merit from kind actions and merit from raising consciousness more. These are energetic credits that shape your life experience. They show up as unexpected opportunities, calm during chaos, grace in decision-making, wisdom in relationships. But every time you react impulsively, every time you argue, attack, defend unnecessarily, you burn that merit. You lower your vibration. So here's the real flex: stillness. Not because you're suppressing anything, but because you know not everything deserves your energy. So next time life triggers you, pause. Ask, is this worth my energy? Am I responding from presence or from pain? Do I want to stay in this storm or be the sky above it? That one moment of awareness changes everything. It redirects your vibration. It builds momentum toward mastery. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, the drama doesn't shake you, the delay doesn't stress you, the noise doesn't reach you, because you've remembered your power is not in reacting, it's in choosing where to place your attention. But here's something we rarely ask ourselves. Are we wishing for connection or demanding control? There's a difference. Wanting a healthy relationship is beautiful, but expecting someone to change just to soothe your emotional waves, that's not love. That's attachment in disguise. So ask yourself honestly, do I wish for a deeper bond, or do I just want them to behave how I need them to, so I can feel okay? That second one, it's a trap, because anytime your peace depends on someone else's behavior, you're handing them your emotional remote. What if, instead of demanding change, you held space for their complexity? What if you became the one who could contain, not control? That's what true emotional maturity looks like. Not shrinking yourself for others, but also not shrinking others for your comfort. And now, you're ready for what's next. The power of presence, letting go of ego, holding on to truth. Let's talk about something that almost no one teaches, but that changes everything. Presence, not just being here physically, but being fully here in your breath, your awareness, your power. Because here's what you'll realize. When you stop trying to control everything, when you stop needing to be right, to be validated, to be seen, something else shows up. Stillness, clarity, truth. And that truth doesn't scream. It doesn't beg for attention. It just is. You see, most of our pain comes not from what happens, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what happens. Someone ignores you and your mind says, they don't respect me. Someone succeeds and your thoughts whisper, that means I'm falling behind. Someone challenges you and your ego panics. I must defend myself to prove my worth. But none of those are facts. They're just thoughts. And thoughts can lie. What if you didn't believe every thought? What if you paused and asked, is this coming from my pure awareness, my true awareness? Or is this just a reflex from my mental filters and thought patterns, my old patterns? Here's the deeper truth. Your mind is loud, but your soul, it speaks softly. To hear it, you have to quiet the noise. You have to let go of the need to react, argue, defend, prove. That's where presence begins. What if you paused and asked, is this coming from my true awareness, the observer within? Or is this just a reflex from my conditioned patterns, the part of me shaped by old survival responses? In the framework of Vietnamese wisdom, there's something called the triangle of reality. It says, everything begins as information, what you believe and accept. That information becomes energy, your emotional frequency, and that energy becomes matter, your external life experience. So if your beliefs are distorted, your life reflects that distortion. That's why it's not enough to think positive. You must reprogram your core concept, the deep-rooted belief that defines how you interpret life. That concept gives birth to your mental image template, the inner picture your brain constantly refers to when reacting to life. Let me ask you something personal. How often do you react because you want to feel seen? How often do you argue just to be right? But here's the thing. The pain isn't from silence. It's from your attachment to being heard. The stress isn't from failure. It's from your attachment to success. The anger isn't about their words. It's about your belief that their words define you. And that's the real freedom. You can drop the attachment and keep the truth. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to win every conversation. You don't need to match their energy. Because when you're present, really present, you choose your own rhythm. You're not reacting, you're directing, you're aligned. This is what emotional masters do. They move in silence, not because they have nothing to say, but because they understand. Not everything deserves a response. And more importantly, not everything gets to steal your peace. Let me give you an image. Imagine a monk standing in the middle of a noisy city. People walk by, cars honk, voices clash, screens flash, but the monk doesn't flinch, not because he's disconnected, but because he's deeply rooted. That's not indifference, that's stillness in action. And you can have that too. You don't need to escape to a mountain, you just need to return to your breath, to your body, to your truth. That's presence, and presence is power. So how do you train it? Start small. Take one breath before speaking. Ask yourself, what am I attached to right now? Notice the story you're telling yourself and question it. Practice silence not as a retreat, but as a weapon. And most of all, remember this truth. You are not the noise. You are the space the noise passes through. You are not your reaction. You are the awareness that chooses. The more you live from this place, this still, grounded, intentional state, the more powerful you become. Because you're no longer trying to control the storm, you've become the sky. You no longer chase validation, you live from inner truth. You no longer need to be seen because your presence speaks louder than your words ever could. So here's your challenge. The next time something shakes you, stop, breathe, ask yourself, what's my truth right now? Is this story I'm believing actually true? Can I remain still and stay in my power? If you do that even just once, you'll feel it. The shift, the clarity, the return to presence. And presence isn't just peace, it's power, it's truth, it's freedom. And here's a shift that changes everything. When your awareness evolves, people stop being problems to fix. They become pathways to understanding. You stop asking, why are they like this? And start wondering, what are they here to teach me about myself? Because people, they're not obstacles. They're mirrors. They reflect the parts of you that still crave healing, still seek approval, still hold fear. And when you stop seeing someone as the cause of your pain and start seeing them as the catalyst for your growth, something shifts. You realize that argument, it wasn't a wall, it was a doorway. That betrayal, not an ending, a bridge to your next level. So no, people are not your prison, they're your pilgrimage. They are not here to block your path. Sometimes they are the path. You are not your anger. You are not your fear. You are not your past. You are pure awareness, the pure awareness that watches it all. You are not the storm. You are the sky, and every time you return to that truth, you become more unshakable. So protect your peace, guard your energy, and never forget, stillness is not weakness. Stillness is strength in its highest form.